Hello everyone and welcome to the fifth part tutorial of how to model iPhone headphones. So the last time I left you where we add texture, shaders and to this plug and for the earphone. Now whatever will be your situation right now, we need to apply those shaders also for the controller first. Okay, so in order to choose the controller, we will reveal this layer of the the controller. Right click on top of it and choose select objects. At the same time, I suggest you to open the outliner, which is very handful right now, and you can see if I will pull those objects, it's okay to pull them out, but make sure that everything is at the same position as it was. And you see that at the outliner those three aren't grouped yet, okay? And there is no other sign that indicate that these are grouped, like another blue strip somewhere here. So that means for sure that those three objects aren't grouped. So we will go over general, click on group here, and this will group them, and you can double click it and just call it controller. Sorry, it's in Hebrew. Controller, like that. And yeah, we already have a controller. The layer name is controller, so therefore Maya is adding number 1 to this name. Okay, now we want also to go over modify and center the pivot for it, so this controller will be like that. And basically we will choose this object, right click on top of it, assign existing material, plastic, and for both of those right click after you chose them and choose rubber gray. Also, there is one more thing. I want you to press 1 on your keyboard in order to bring it back to non-smooth preview, and I want you to right click, choose face, choose this face, double click this face, and yeah, like that. Just make sure that all the faces have been selected, and then unselect this face first, choose this face, double click on this face, and then select this face again. So now let's check. It seems that everything is okay, everything is selected. Right click on top of them, assign existing material, and rubber gray again. So okay, so that way we finished on how to add our colors to this controller, and now you can switch to the splitter and bring it to the scene. Reveal it first by this V here, and you can see this is also not related to none of those groups here, so that's basically okay because it's only one unit, it's one object, and you can do just right click on top of it, assign existing material, and choose plastic, and that's it for the shaders. Now I don't want to touch on how to add the microphone shader. I think it should be very easy. You can add just one, take a cylinder, cut most of the faces of it, and keep the top faces and add the texture for it, so you can use the same texture as here, and then you can apply it just by heading this cylinder top to the microphone side. Okay, now we need to do one more thing, is to choose this plane and add it to its own layer. So choose the layer, go over channel box layer editor by pressing this icon here once or twice, and click here. Then you will get a new layer, so just call it layer. Okay, layer 1, it's okay. Give it some other color and save it. Great. Now the thing is, I want to select like this one. Okay, you can see it's highlighted this group. That means that I need to click on this all group and just make sure that I'm grabbing all the pieces. This is why I'm using the outliner, and I want to place it over here. Now I also want to take the plug itself and scale it to something about the same size, and also you see it's higher than the controller. So what we will do, we will switch to 4-view, and we will yeah, this is the view that we may want to use. We will expand the side view and use this move tool in order to place our plug in front of our controller. Okay, so this is the controller here, and this is the plug, and you can see that they are almost the same size, almost not at the same size, but we need to make sure about something. So I will switch back to perspective view, and I want to see these faces here. Okay, so I will right click, choose this face, this face, this face. Sorry, this face is not necessary. Just those row of faces. Okay, see those here, these are just those, and I want to switch back to 4-view. Now from the 4-view, if I will I will zoom in, you can see that these this is where the inner circle of this plug is end. Okay, so it's somewhere here, it's like one of those first lines here, and I need them to be at the same scale as this circle. This is the inner plug circle for the controller. So what I will do, I will switch back, just try to look very carefully here, choose tap on F8 once or twice in order to see to bring it back to object mode, and then I will scale this plug to the same size of this purple circle of our controller. Now also you may want to use the move tool in order to place it right in the middle of it. Okay, so it will be at the same position as this. Okay, like that. Now you may want even more, as I think, because this is the inner part. This circle, purple circle, is the inner part, and this is where we aiming. So that way, it's like the best way. Okay, now from here we can switch to back to here, and you can see we have these two facing to each other. They're both at the same size, means that they are both proportionally are quite okay. Now I want to right click on this plug and catch all those vertices here and just stretch them just a little bit longer. Also grab these ones and stretch them just a little bit longer, like so. So that way the plug looks pretty much as it should. Maybe these can a little bit less. F8 to bring it back to object mode. Now we will learn how to create the cable. We will do one or two examples on how to attach them both, and I hope that this will cover this section, just to learn how to create cable here. I also have other tutorials that you can watch on how to create cables, but just because I want to add more to this tutorial, so I'm creating this part also about cables. So from here what you want to do is switch to top view, and if you are at top view, like here, expand it, and we can see our plug and our controller here. Now go over create CV curve tool, and what you want to do, you want to zoom into the plug first, and you see this is where the part that the inner part of where the cable should come out from. So the first point should be somewhere here. The next point of the CV curve, you place it over here. You click and release, okay, to draw a line. Now at least 3 or 4 dots should be straight, and also try to keep equal equal distance between dots. Don't make it something that looks other than that. And from here you can start draw your line just by clicking somewhere on the plane, okay, just like so. And somewhere here I want you to start make the line straight, so we will do something like that and click somewhere here in order to finish this line. Hit enter to close this line, and that's it. Now we have the first curve that from it we will this will be actually the path on for our cable that we will create. Now I will switch back to perspective view, and you can see that this curve is actually at the bottom on the grid itself. Now make sure when you create this curve none of these magnet options are ticked, okay, or highlighted, like these ones, like this one or this one, okay, just blank gray, dark gray around it. And you want to make sure you grab this curve is selected, go over modify, center pivot, and you want to bring this to the same level as these holes, okay, so you want them to be right in the center of these holes, like that. Even more, if you're not sure, you can use the fore view, side view in order to see it better, but I'm doubt that you will understand how it something from here, so it's just better to use the top view, and this one way to see it, and this is this front view, which you can see that I may need to bring it just a little bit down, like so, but it's not very important because you can always adjust it later. So now I will open the outliner again, choose one of those pieces here for the controller. I see that this is highlighted, grab this once and pull it on this axis just a little bit to the side, grab the plug also to the other side, and we will create polygon cylinder. The polygon cylinder we will bring him here somewhere to the start of where we start to draw this line. Now I want you to grab all these faces like this, okay, without those top faces, you see. Also the bottom ones also selected, and press delete on your keyboard to delete them. Now I want to explain something. You see that first go over modify, center pivot for it, and if you already saw one of my tutorials or not about cables and wires, there is one thing that I missed on explaining you. If you know what this is normals, or if you don't, normals are like the way that Maya tells you which direction these faces are facing to. Okay, now let's for instance say that you want to apply texture to it, and texture that will be applied to face should be look okay, but there are normals, and normals are mainly you can describe what they do by looking a glass of water, you know, and spill some water inside this glass, and also put a spoon inside. So basically what the water should do is give you the effect that this spoon should look bigger, okay, because there are water that make it bigger, look like the spoon is bigger. So for Maya there is this feature which called normals, and it's applied also for bump mapping, texture, and basically it shows the direction that those faces are facing to. Now basically when you create just a basic object, most of all the faces of this object, like this one, okay, or cylinder or any else full object, you know, like these ones, all the faces will look to the outside, okay, face to the outside. Now you can see normals just by going over normals here and choose, sorry, go over display, show, and no, object display, no, somewhere here, polygons, NURBS, yeah, somewhere here, normals, shade mode, okay. If you click NURBS shade mode, you can see the normals. Now I will zoom in and you will see the normals, okay. Now these normals should point outside in most cases, but let's say for instance you will make a room from this cube and you want this cube to be the walls of this room, okay, so you will do something apparently like this, but you will forget all about the normals, because the normals should be right now, because you care for the walls from the inner side, you need these normals to point inside. Therefore you can do it very simply to adjust those. You can pick a face one by one, go over normals, which you need to be at the polygon tab, and choose normal and reverse them, okay, and then you will see that these normals, if I will just select this, but you know, with selection tool, see those two faces, I reversed the normals to the inner side. So basically this is what it means, and this is how this rule is working. Now for each, as I told you, for each of those pieces, except this one or the polygon torus, which in this case they will point to the outside, the normals, but those interfaces here in this area will point to this side, because this is the outside for them, okay, just for clearing things out. Now this polygon which we made earlier, the faces, the normals right now facing upwards, okay, I don't need to show you, you just need to trust me on that, okay. And whenever you want to use this as for an extrude along path, which this is the path, the curve, okay, and you want to extrude it along this, you need to be aware how to put this face, okay. So first the first thing, except normals, what we need to do is first rotate this, okay. So I will rotate this 90 degrees, holding the J in order to snap it to 90 degrees, and then I will bring it nearby this curve. Now the normal facing over the left side, okay. If you don't believe me, I will just show you. I'm sure it doesn't have got to do with believing, it's just for manners of understanding, so matters of understanding. So I will just show you how this normal is shown in this, okay. See, the normals point to the left, and here on our curve, right click, choose control vertices, you can see that we have three kind of vertices on top of this curve. First, one of them is a square, but not a filled square. You see, fill, I mean like there is empty areas in the square in the middle. Then we have the U, which is this one here, okay, the U, and then we have filled square, okay, more like dots, filled dots. But this is how it represents this curve. Now, there will always be one empty square, one U, and the rest will be filled dots, okay, squares, dots, whatever, along to it. All the rest will be the same kind. Now, for you, the U means the start point. Even though you start to draw this line from this square, will be the start point. And you need the face, this face, normals, to point to the real start point, which is the square. But this will be the start point, and we are going to snap this polygon cylinder faces over this U dot, okay? So we will do it very easily. Grab this, right click on top of your curve just to see this, okay? So both highlighted, hold down the V key and catch this middle circle. You see, if I'm just tapping on this V key, you hold down the V key, click with your middle mouse wheel, okay, on top of this one, and drag it over the U, so it will snap it to this U vertices, and release. Now you can see that this is the start point, and this is the direction that the normals of this face should be point to, okay? This is very important. I didn't explain this earlier. I just figured this out at the last 2 days, and I thought that you might need to know this, okay? Now, if you will scale only the face, only this cylinder, we want to scale it to about something like our faces here at the plug, okay? So I will bring the plug just nearby this so I can see it better, like so. And if I see that this face, see, it's not very centered, doesn't look like centered at all, but let's try work with it. I will minimize it like so, and maybe at the same time I will bring this plug a little bit down here. Yeah, so this looks pretty much okay. Maybe even a little bit smaller, just a little bit, not much, so you can see it. And basically like so, just to adjust this plug, and we can move the plug back away. And now, whenever you draw your lines, make sure you don't do anything more than 100 vertices points for it, okay? I will show you in a minute why, in a second. If you grab this curve, there you can see in the attribute editor of it how many spans it has, okay? It has 29 in this case. But if you will start to count how many dots you have here, you may have 3 more, but you need to make sure that you're relying on the 29, okay? And then you catch this one, okay? Shift select this one, go over polygons here, edit mesh, and click on the little cube alongside the extrude. Okay, so click on this, and here from this go over edit, reset setting, and type in 29 as you saw in that box. Okay, and click apply. Okay, then close it, and you can see that Maya just covered this curve with this polygon cylinder by extruding it, okay, 29 times along this path. Now, the thing is that it may not look smooth, but you can press free in order to make it smoother. So use the smooth preview in order to smooth it. Now, also you can group those two together, like so. Go over general and click group, and call this NURB wire 1. Okay, tap enter, and now you can grab only the polygon itself here. Okay, Control D to duplicate it and move it back to the side, or you know what, just bring it back, undo that, yeah, bring it back to the side, no, undo that, expand this group, and here we can see this is the highlighted item, this is the duplicated item. So with your middle mouse wheel, grab it and put it maybe above. You see, I'm putting it above this group and release. So this way you put it outside from this group, and you can unexpand this group and Control H to hide it. So it will always be here unless you delete it, but we want only this duplicated item. Tap on 3 to make it smoother, and if you don't want to see those normals, basically, as I recall last time, I've done something like go over polygon, reset display, and yeah, this will fix this issue. So we have some problem with this smooth areas. If you want to make it more look like heart shape, bring it back to object mode, to non-smooth preview mode. Hold down the shift, right click, insert edge loop, and insert one more edge loop here and one more edge loop at the end of it, like so, and tap on F8 to bring it back to object mode. So 3, smooth preview, choose your move tool, modify center pivot for this object first, modify center pivot, yeah, object mode, and then just insert it to our controller. Now the controller, because we move this a little bit, we need to adjust it, but the thing is that really matters here is what's the size of this cable, so it will fit both of these two items. Okay, now you can just come here, look at this, and okay, that's fine. And now we've left only right click on it, choose it, select it, sorry, right click, assign existing material, and choose this rubber gray. So basically this is it, this is how you create cables. Now if you want more extra knowledge about how to create wires and things like that, first remember this lesson and all this normal issue and subject, okay, not issue, object, just subject, and try to memorize it. Try to always memorize it so you will know how to work with wires. Normals have a really huge role in this all modeling part, and it's very important to remember their role. Okay, so this is it for this part. What I'm offering you to do is grab each one of those pieces. You don't really need me to make another another part for this. Just organize your scene, grab those pieces, rotate them in the same direction, you see, like that, and just try to make them fit to the same portion of this other objects we have here. Now, one more thing about this, we will need to create another duplicate special for this one. Now, as I told you, you can choose this object, and you can see that this is highlighted, so I can grab it like so, and you can go over edit. First of all, I want you to look at this that way, and you can see that here at this little icon here, this is the axis, pivot axis. So Y it's the green, X it's the yellow apparently, and Z it's our direction. So that means that if this earphone is pointing to the Z direction, you see the Z is here right now, that means that you go over edit, duplicate spatial, okay, you go over edit, reset setting, and just one more thing, translate, rotate, scale. We have those three parameters, but each one of them has three boxes. Those three boxes represent X, Y, and Z. In order to remember this order, it's just easy as to follow X, Y, Z, okay? But always you can look here above and you can see this order, X, Y, Z. So we said that this earphone is pointing to the Z, and if we want this duplicating item that we are going to create to face in front of this earphone, we need to face it along the Z. So what you do, you reset the setting for this duplicate spatial options box, come over the Z section of the scale, okay? You do -1 and you just click apply, and that's not okay, something wrong here. Yeah, weird, but let's undo that. Okay, edit, duplicate special. Apparently I will have to do this few tests. -X, apply. No, -X it's the same, so close, undo that, go over edit, duplicate spatial, and edit, reset setting, and -1 for the Y. Not sure why, but Y. Okay, so now we have a duplicated item that facing this earphone. Now it's also at the same group, so you may want to grab those two and just with your middle mouse key drag it somewhere in between those lines, not on top of those lines, in between, in order to ungroup them from this group, and then you can group them, see, like so, grabbing those two and group them and call this speaker left, okay? So this way this will be organized, and you have the wires. Also the wires, remember one of them, the original wires, we hide them, okay? So you need to remember this. There will always be here, and these are this NURBS wire. You can't see them right now because they are hidden, but if you will hold down Shift and H together, you will see them. So like that, you see? So I will hide them using Control H, so that way you can grab this wire and just add it to his own layer, okay? create a new layer, choose a color, call it wire 1 or just wires, maybe put all the wires together in the same layer and save it. Now one more thing, I will create another one just for clearing things out. Also you want also to do the same thing that I'm doing here with those pieces and face those holes here of the bottom side of this earphones, and trying to match them to the same wires thickness. Okay, so but first we will do just this thing. We will grab this and maybe put it somewhere here. I want to switch back to 4-view, and I want to place this in front of my controller. You see this, the purple one is my controller, and I'm going to relay on the inner part. So what I will do is first expand this window so I can see better, and I want to place this in the middle of this purple circle, like so. Okay, it's not very centered, but trying to do my best here. And then we want to expand this object, scale it a little bit more, and then we can maybe adjust it a little bit better. Okay, now yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, one another thing I want to tell you before I'm continuing. In real life, the iPhone headphones, this cable should be just a little bit more thick than the rest of the cables. Okay, so that means that basically I've done some problem here. I just noticed that this one should be okay. Sorry, I also moved this like that. That's not right. Controller. Sorry. I don't know how I've done this, but we need to make this fit this. Okay, the plug goes to the splitter, and from the splitter we have two wires, one for the controller, and from the controller to one of those earphones, and one straight to one of those earphones. I don't know how I didn't notice earlier, but just make sure. It should be very easy just to grab this piece and make sure that it's at the same scale for this cable. Okay, and basically it's very easy. So do this, and you know what, I may want also to grab all those vertices here, and I will try to make it just a little bit smaller here in this area. It looks pretty much very big, and this is not how it's in real life. It should be very smaller, and okay, like that. And also if you're intending on maybe make this area, try not to pick the inner circle vertices. Okay, I'll grab those, but I'm trying to avoiding grabbing anything in the middle here and here, and then you can size it, maybe, or maybe don't do it. Well, that's fine like that. That's fine, just from using the size scale. But as you can see, I did select some other vertices here, so therefore just like that. See, this is how you fix scale problems. Now let's create another line, but this time we will do something else. Just one more wire, and I'm really truly going to close this part of tutorial, and also this will be a test for you. I ain't gonna keep on doing this another part of tutorial. It's just because I want you to use the same thing that you learned here in order to complete the scene, and then you will know that you have some you learned something, okay, and not just copying my moves. It's not like that. You need to memorize things and learn. So the outliner is here, controller, I'm going to bring it just a little bit to the side. Now remember, moving it sometimes can be a pain if you don't catch the whole group, and also if you like to rotate it, you better make sure they are grouped, okay, and you catch the whole group. Now I want to place this somewhere here, but you know what, before I'm rotating it, just want to make sure that these holes right now are matching. So I will use the 4 view in order to place this controller in front of, just try to show you this. I will unreveal the plug so I won't see it in my background, also the wires, and you see this circle here, there is another one here, okay. I want to match it to the circle of my controller, so I will put it somewhere here. And by the way, the controller, volume controller of the iPhone controller, okay, it's very small. Even that it appears very big here, it's very small in real life, and you need to be aware of that. So I'm grabbing all this controller and trying to match this. And also, as I told you earlier, the thickness of this cable from now on, okay, the thickness from the splitter to the rest of the objects should be a little bit more smaller than the thickness, thick and thin. Should be a little bit more thinner, okay, thinner from the other wire. Now you can reveal them back if it, okay, and you see now I rotate it because I already have the size of this, and what I can do right now is maybe just make it a little bit longer. I think should be something like that, and then we will switch to 4 view, top view, expand the top view, and we will zoom in over here. Now go over create CV curve tool, and here you can do the same. I'm starting the start point from the inner part and outside, zooming a little bit outside, and you need to keep four dots straight, okay, and then do whatever you like, okay. Now we are going to do some maneuver here, so I'm doing this lapping over here like so, okay. Now if I will stop here right now and I don't hit enter, just we can continue to draw this line, but first, before we continue, I want you to switch back to 4 view, and I want to show you something. If you will switch to over here, okay, this front view, and expand it, and you can see we can still continue in this line. If we will start drawing upwards that way, then you can see we can determine what the height will be for this curve. But if we stop here for a moment and switch back to the top view here and expand it, and we will continue on drawing, okay, like that. And now I will switch again back to the front view. So here and here, you can see that the last dots that I drew remain at the same level that I stopped to here, okay, stop drawing it when I start to move up, okay. I stopped here, and therefore when I switch back to top view, the rest of the lines will be at the same height. You can go downwards and stop here in the middle, switch back to the top view and continue this line. And if I will go back to the foreview right now and for the front view, you can see that those dots also remain at the same level. You need to be aware of that. I already talked about this in the cable wires tutorial and something about text that I've made earlier this month. So this is how it works for Maya. This is how you make things manipulated in your way. So I'm undoing this. I want to go back to this place right now and back to the top view, and I just want to finish my line same as I started it, okay, the same level. Now the thing is, you need to enter in here and just hit enter to close this line. Okay, now the next thing is to bring it back to perspective, and we will do the same thing as we did earlier. We will create a polygon cylinder, okay. It doesn't have to be with lots of axes. We only need 8, the minimum count of axes. You see here at the attribute editor for it. You can switch to the polycylinder tab. You can see it comes with 20 subdivision axes. You can use 8 in order to reduce poly count, okay. So now we will right click and choose faces. You know what, first we will bring it up, right click, choose faces, these faces, delete. It will left us with these faces. Tap on F8 once or twice to bring it back to object mode, and modify center pivot first, okay. Now move this one over here, and we want, somewhere here, and we want to bring, first rotate this. So rotate, hold down the J and start rotate in the other direction, okay. And you know why already, because the normal is facing to the left, and we start this line from here, so this is where the normal should face. Now if you want to do this, and I didn't mention this before, you will get some crazy extrudeness in the start point here. So this is what we are trying what we're trying to avoid right now. So I'm grabbing this and trying to put it somewhere here, and now hold down, first choose right click this curve, bring this over here. We will zoom in and hold down the V. You see this square become circle. Catch it, hold down the V, don't release it, catch it with your middle mouse wheel and drag it over this U vertex. Now be sure that this U is these two vertices, 2 points really snapped to each other. Otherwise you will get also some crazy extrudeness appearance, okay, overlapping and things like that. Now I want to use the same thing that I've used here for the beginning of this tutorial. I will first make it like so and apply smooth preview by tapping free, so it will become circular, and grab this, and grab both of them, but try not to grab the layer itself. So unselect the layer, and we will first bring them up like so, and we will relay on this side of this curve in order to see that we are really there. And then you can just bring this a little bit over here and catch this polygon and scale it to the same size. So this will be the size of our cable. Now I know that this is pretty much the size, I just need to bring the curve a little bit upper, but we can do it later on. So bring it to the side so it won't interfere us, and grab this one, but first grab first this curve. As I told you before, the attribute editor and the curve shape 2 tab, you can see that this curve has 33 vertices points along to it. Okay, so that means we need to extrude this face 33 times. So click this polygon, hold down shift and choose this curve, edit mesh, extrude little box here, and change the divisions here to 33, and then click apply, and then you will get this thing. Now we have this overlapping issue here right now, right? So first of all, open the outliner, and from the outliner, if I will tap on F8 to bring it back, both of them to object mode, you can see they both highlighted. Now if I will grab this this polygon, this is the polygon, so Control H to hide it, but first let's give it a name. Let's call it wire 2, okay? So we will recognize it. And the curve 2, what we will do first, we will hide this, Control H, hide this polygon, and we want to choose the curve, right click, choose Control Vertices, and we need to bring these two vertices just a little bit higher. Okay, now you need to imagine that this is the this curve here, okay, is the middle of this wire, and somewhere there it's like this is where those, yeah, you need to think of that like two wires is going to be in here. Okay, so if I will now choose the wire that is hidden, Shift H to reveal it, we can see that we modified the heights of this cable here. Now you see it's not very good, so we will need to Control H, hide it again, Control Vertices, and move them upwards. Make sure you don't move any other vertices together. Okay, like that, and then reveal this by Shift H. Okay, I have some problem here. Oh, I'm on Hebrew again, US. Okay, so we are almost there, and Shift Control H to hide it, Control Vertices, grab those two, sorry, not this one, this two, a little bit higher, and again Shift H in order to see it. You can see it quite enough. It's quite enough. Okay, you don't need to be, yeah, maybe a little bit more, just a little bit, not much. So I will hide it again. Maybe this one only, and then Control H to reveal it. So yeah, that's fine, almost fine, but you know, in some angles when you shoot it, it doesn't appear that much. Now the next thing is to grab those two, okay, go over General, group them, okay, grab only the polygon itself, Control D to duplicate it, and expand this group. We want to grab this and move it outside of this group over here. So this will be wire 3 because there is already wire 2. So the group itself, you want to rename it, okay? So wire group 2, and this wire 3, first the group, Control H to hide it, and the wire 3 you want to press 1 in order to bring it back to non-smooth preview. Hold down the shift, right click, insert edge loop, put one more here just as we did with the other cable, like so, and F8 to bring it back to object mode, and tap 3 to make it smoother. Now we only need to bring this back to the same position where it were at the start, okay? Just look at this like that from here, and then we need to bring our cable here, and the only thing that we've left to do is try to grab our controller here, yeah, and try to adjust it to the same portion, okay? It's not always perfect, so we will always have some adjustment to do, and yeah, almost. Control Z once or twice, maybe only bring it over here, down a little bit, maybe bigger, just a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's cool. So this is pretty much it. The only thing you left to do is grab those and also give this one also a color rubber. Okay, you can grab those two, bring them, rotate them, face them. I suggest you to delete one of them and just fit the same size of the holes for the controller and cable that will insert in there, and then create a copy of this same size that you scale it for. And basically this is it. You just need to wire those two earphones, one to this controller and one that will be one long wire from here, okay? It's pretty much it. This is what you left to do. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'm doing it in purpose that I'm not finishing this tutorial in other way, because this is what this is all about, learning. And in order to know again that you really learned something from this tutorial is by experimenting your knowledge. And basically this is it. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you at the next tutorial, whenever I decided to create it. I'm not sure. Yeah, this here is okay. That's it, folks. Hope you enjoy. See you at the next tutorial. Stay subscribed and like my tutorials. It's very helpful, and share it. Don't forget to share it with your friends. There is plenty of room for any other 3D artist in this world. So stay kind. That's it. See you. Bye.